Not topical, back for episode 3. Trace. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Hit him with the social media, and then we can get into the news.
If you scroll down to the description box below, pop it open, you'll find links to our social media accounts. Click on those. Give us a follow. We also have links to our coffee account and our Patreon account. And there's the thanks button right there on the YouTube page. If you'd like to help support our channel financially, we really appreciate that. It would mean a lot to us. But if you're not going to do any of those things, then subscribe because it's free and you're still helping us out a bunch.
What's the news? News, man.
This isn't really news necessarily, but Screen Rant released an opinion piece basically stating something that I massively agree with, that Top Gun 3 needs to leave Maverick out of it for the franchise's future. Which, yeah, I think that's a really good point. So, me personally, I know this isn't how the world works.
I don't know about that.
I know this isn't how the world works. It'll never happen. Me personally, just don't make any more Top Gun movies. Like, you capped it off.
I agree with that.
With the movie that, like, basically saved movies for the year at the very least. I mean, like, in a time where hardly anyone is going to see movies at a movie theater, you put out a movie that is now the 11th highest grossing movie of all time. Like, people actually went to a theater to see this movie. So, part of me is like, yeah, make more Top Gun movies, because if that'll keep doing that, then, like, Top Gun itself may single-handedly save the theater industry. But also, for someone who loves both Top Gun movies a lot, it ended so nicely. Like, I don't really need more, you know?
Yeah.
But, that being said, yeah, like, Tom Cruise is getting old. He can't do this shit forever. If you're going to keep the franchise going, at some point in time, you have to pass the torch. They can't make the same mistake that Indiana Jones is making.
But not in 3. I think 3's too soon.
No shot. Okay, well, first of all, the second one came out, like, 30 years after the first one.
But,
so,
I mean,
like,
you give them Top Gun 3 to, like, solidify the relationship, and you kill them in Top Gun 4, like, halfway through, and you make it impactful, meaningful.
Top Gun 3, because, look, the thing is Maverick pretty much hung it up at the end of Maverick. Like, he's chilling with his girl, flying his old school, like, you know, prop motor plane, and all this shit. Like, I'm not saying don't have him in the movie at all, but he needs to be, like, not as small of a role as Val Kilmer was in Maverick, but he needs to be, like, that kind of role. And it needs to focus on Glenn Powell and Miles Teller. Because, like, that, you set that up. That's what you set up. Miles Teller, he has the name power. He's got the star power to pull this. Glenn Powell is, like, on the rise. You're going to see him in a lot more stuff, especially after Maverick. Like, Glenn Powell is, like, even though Miles Teller is, he's more of, like, the second main character because he's Goose's son. There's emotional connection and all that stuff. Glenn Powell's character is the one that is the most like Maverick. So, like, they basically, you just, I think it takes two people to replace Tom Cruise. So it really just needs to focus on those two moving forward, and I think that could be really fucking good.
Yeah, I think you sold me on it. Because, in my mind, I'm watching House. For whatever reason, House comes up every week on the show.
Right. This is a House podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
disguised as
he's got his new team now,
mm-hmm.
and he's getting in the flow with the new team. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that. Just let him just, like, for 1 or 2 movies, just, like, get a team, and then, like, connect with them, get another team, connect with them, and then die. But when you were talking, it made me think of Creed.
Okay, yeah.
You build that emotional connection in the first movie.
Yeah.
Maverick. Creed 2, Rocky, he ain't gotta die. He's like, hey, I'm with you till the end. This is my last one. I need to get my priorities together. I love you, Donnie. I gotta go, you know, like, be a good dad. Because he wasn't a good dad in Rocky 5, and then he was a good dad, and then he wasn't a good dad in the Rocky 6. And then he became a good dad in Rocky 6. He's just a shitty dad, Rocky is.
That's
you
true.
know?
Yeah.
But, you know, he had his little send-off, and it was perfect. It was beautiful. You're making Creed 3. Maybe, you know, at the end, Rocky will give Donnie a call, and that'll just be it. We know he's alive and well. That's all we need. And, like, you can throw Tom Cruise in there here and there, you know? So you sold me on it, actually.
Yeah, well, it's like, normally when people do this in movies, it just doesn't feel right. Like, I don't know why I'm not ready for, like, texting to be part of movies. But even in Maverick, like, he's just having these text conversations with Iceman throughout the film, right? And it's just like, you just need to know he's there.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying don't put Tom Cruise's face in it at all. But, like, my thing is, would Tom Cruise do it in that capacity? Like, would he agree to do it if he doesn't get up in a plane and do some shit?
But I feel like also, like, Tom Cruise is really about, like, he is weird because for some reason, like, to me, he comes off as, like, a Spielberg kid, even though he's much older. But, like...
Who, Cruise?
Yeah, like, the magic of movies.
Yeah.
What you can do in movies, the excitement of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But also the art of it, where we don't need to do stupid shit for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, Live, Die, Repeat. Will it get a sequel? Who knows? We've been hearing about that for years. But they wrapped up the story. They did it right. Mission Impossible. There's still a story to tell.
Yeah.
So he's willing to tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
He knows when to quit and when to leave something alone. And when you have your own production company, it's real easy to be like, no, I run this shit. You know? So he'll tell that bad robot, naughty robot, we're not making no more movies.
That's true.
That's the fucking end of it.
He also has the power of Scientology behind him, which I don't mean like the religious power of Scientology. I just mean like the financial power of Scientology and the influence. They're basically the Illuminati. I mean, like, they got hands in everything.
Anything about that?
I know you don't, but
Like, got hands in your pants?
yeah, no.
Oh,
But yeah,
switched up on
Tom
me.
Cruise can literally do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna say no to Tom Cruise.
It would be a good Tom Cruise Maverick 3 scene.
What?
Like, middle of the movie, where, like, he has a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whichever one of them has, like, an issue going on in life. They go home, like, late at night, and Tom Cruise, they wake him up on their couch. What the fuck are you doing in my house? Well, fucking so-and-so, they kicked me out. That's a very Tom Cruise, Top Gun, Maverick type thing.
Yeah, I can see
You
that.
said some stupid shit, she kicked you out, you're sleeping on homie's couch till you can cool things over tomorrow. You had that meaningful talk, and then he drives his motorcycle back and get his honey dip back.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. There's room for this, and
Yeah.
it's just really it kind of just all hinges on how much you're gonna have Tom Cruise do.
Now, how many do you make? Do you go on to have another team where one of those playboys lead
Well,
it?
here's the thing: if they do a good job of setting up the Glenn Powell, Miles Teller thing and phasing Tom Cruise out, then Top Gun's life is borderline infinite because they're so young, and like, so it really just depends on how long they wanted to do it. But
Because I think 2 movies would be perfect.
I was gonna say, if I had to put a cap on the Top Gun franchise, 5 movies total, which would be 3 more, I guess. But
Yeah, but how much stuff can you do in planes? Like, last time they didn't give us a fucking villain. It was like bad people somewhere.
but that's how it always is. That's how
No,
the first Top Gun was.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I don't. Fuck
That's
with the
like
first
that's
Top
just
Gun.
part of the magic of Top Gun. Is
It's-
like you don't need to say it's Russia or Afghanistan or North Korea or or China. Like, we could just kind of infer,
Okay.
Like, you don't need that. But also, like, doesn't that make a good villain? Like, having mystery behind a villain? Like, they're just bad, and that's all you need to know. And I love that.
You know what I hate my villains to do? I hate it when my villains smile.
Well, these villains are always in a mask. Like, you don't even have one central, like, villain. It's just, this country is bad.
I was trying to transition.
Oh, well, that's fine. We can transition.
I mean, are you still, like, what do you want to talk about still?
No, I was done.
Like, 5 movies is good. You can squeak out 5 movies. I mean, do we really dislike 5 people that much? That realistically, so you got China, Korea, well, half Korea.
Right, but that's the thing.
Russia.
It's a war movie.
3.
Like, well, but we don't, none of those are the villain. You have no idea. And also, just because you successfully completed one mission and blew up 4 to 10 of their planes, that doesn't mean they're just defeated, you know?
The ops gotta come back.
Like, this shit never... Like, war is never ending, unfortunately. What also is never ending, to segue off your segue, is the debate over, like, streaming releases and theatrical releases, right? So, the Freaky director... That, if you don't know, Freaky is that movie with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, very good.
I know that you know what it is, but they might not know what it is.
Who the fuck are they?
So, yeah, basically, some girl and Vince Vaughn, like, it's a Freaky Friday thing, hits the title Freaky, but he's a serial killer. More like the hot girl, or the hot chick.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But anyways, the movie was pretty good. It was in theaters for, like, a month before it went to streaming. And so the guy that directed it, Christopher Landon, who also directed Happy Death Day.
Hopefully not too.
Which is, I guess this is just his thing, like taking premises from other movies and then making them horror, which is kind of working so far.
He's running out.
Yeah, he did Groundhog Day, he did Freaky Friday. I don't know what he's going to do next. I'm sure he'll come up with something. But,
that's like Smokey the Bandit in a horror movie.
Right, yeah. So Halloween ends.
Sucks fucking toes. Holy shit, that movie's bad.
Yeah, but it was still it made $41 million on its opening weekend, which is not great, but it is also the highest grossing movie of the weekend. But it also went to Peacock
same day, yes.
The same day. So basically he's just saying it sucks that films aren't getting time in theaters because Freaky was doing okay in theaters, but then it went to streaming and then no one went to see it, and it like just freaking crushed their chance. They had they were going to make a profit off the film just in theaters, and then I think it still did make a profit. It was just a really small one because they put it on streaming. And so basically his whole point is...
Yeah, it cuts the legs underneath the movie. Right,
it does. But his point is you need to commit to one. Is this movie going to be in theaters, or is this movie going to be streaming? But my favorite part is his closing statement. If I can find it, because I don't want to... I don't want to paraphrase this, but I guess I'm going to have to. He basically ended his Twitter rant with saying, "Stop trying to suck 2 dicks at once." And it's like, not everyone can do that, you know? So...
Who would want their dick sucked along with another dick?
I don't know.
It seems like 69ing. It seems like really like a waste of time.
Anyways.
It's not logical.
Well, whatever. I mean, yeah, I agree. But, so, Halloween Ends still sucks, right?
Yes.
Still the highest grossing movie of the weekend. Smile, which debuted last weekend, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Or no, it debuted in September, late September. Is still doing really good at the box office. So it's made more than $70 million so far domestically.
And it did not go to streaming.
It did not go to streaming. Both of these... So basically the last 2 big box office successes, more or less, have been horror movies. Mm-hmm. It is that time of year for horror movies. But also, as much as we don't like horror, I think horror has been like really the only consistent genre of film, like really since its conception. And that's really interesting to me. Are action movies good anymore?
Yes.
Okay, so John Wick's good.
Cop Shop came out last year.
Okay.
Really good.
All right.
It has action on the genre piece everywhere, everything, all at once.
That's not an action movie.
Bro, tons of kung fu.
I'm not saying it's not in there, but that is not an action movie.
The Batman.
No, that's not. That's a superhero movie. That's not an action movie.
That's an action movie.
That's not an action movie. That's a neo-noir movie, if anything. If you're going to put it out something outside of this is a comic book movie.
Well, let me see what the fuck came out this year.
That's my point. Like, It's that hard to think of really successful, like, true action movies.
I woke up a fucking hour ago.
Are rom-coms good anymore?
Yeah. See, the thing about it is, there's too many fucking movies, and this is the problem with streaming as well. Because I went on Netflix to watch this fucking Ninja Turtles movie, and it wasn't any good. Well, I ain't gonna say it wasn't any good. It just wasn't for me. A Ninja Turtle savant, a purist. So I was like, I ain't watching this. So I was trying to find something else since I was already on Netflix. And I was like, let me see what the fuck else is on here. And it was like 2022, never heard of that movie. 2022, never heard of that movie. 2022, never heard of that movie. And they just make movies for streaming that go nowhere. So because they don't have any marketing behind them, I don't know if they're good movies or not. Like, what's that one movie that went to Netflix? No marketing, but word of mouth, and it had Ryan Reynolds in it. People talked about it a lot. Came out early in the year.
I have no idea.
Some sci-fi shit. But see, this is the thing. With action movies, they get clumped in. So, like...
Right, you know what I'm
Jurassic
talking
World.
about, though.
Bullet Train's good. Ambulance got really good reviews. Mission Impossible 7's coming out this year. The Gray Man. Meh.
It's not a good movie.
Vendetta, I wouldn't call that an action movie. The Northman.
That's not an action movie.
Says it. Has it listed.
That doesn't mean... Okay, well, what about all those other movies that you didn't name because you knew they're not action movies?
Because you was going to say that Black Adam wasn't an action movie.
It's not an action movie.
It has action in it. Bro,
doesn't make
it can fall into more than one box.
Okay, so Star Wars is sci-fi.
No, that's not.
Nope. It has sci-fi in it.
That's not sci-fi.
It is, but by your standard.
So what would you call Django Unchained? An action movie or a western?
It's a western.
But it would also fall into action.
Every western has action in it.
Yeah, and every superhero movie has action in it, so every superhero movie is an action movie.
No, it's not. And we've had this conversation before when we've done top fives, and you agreed with me.
See, Everywhere All at Once. Gotcha.
You listen, you are like the 80s, like early 90s action person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
They don't make them like they used to.
Because they're not... Right, that's my point. Horror is literally the only consistent genre of filmmaking since it was conceived.
Prey's an action movie. See, but I disagree with that as well.
Then what else?
Because you gotta think, the Italians, my people, us Guitos, our Pazans, we had horror in the bag for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And then these motherfuckers with their leather faces and Mike Myers, they did the slasher genre over here. It popped off. Well, guess what? They just kept fucking making them, and they were no good.
Right, but that doesn't mean other horror movies weren't coming out that were also still good.
No good. Scream brought back the horror like genre.
Okay, so it had a minor pause between 1985 and 1990, whatever.
And then 2000s. You got Ring, Saw.
They all made money. They were huge. Hostel is not even good, but it was like a phenomenon. Blair Witch Project.
That's in the 90s.
I know it's not in the 90s, but like that's my point. Like there has never not been a year where there wasn't at least like 2 or 3 really good horror movies that were like cultural, like had cultural relevance. And I agree, it is much tougher for a film to have like a level of cultural relevance like the Blair Witch Project did. I mean, Top Gun Maverick's the only movie in the like outside of Avengers movies. Top Gun Maverick is the only movie that's had any real cultural relevance, like broad sweeping. Everyone is talking about this movie relevance, but horror movies have always done that. Midsommar, Hereditary. Everyone loves talking about whatever the really good horror movie. People went crazy on Twitter about Barbarian.
Yeah, I mean, we're going what space on Twitter, everything, everywhere, all at once.
But that's where the public opinion is now, and it's not an action movie.
What a cocksucker. Twitter, like, you gotta get Twitter.
Shit, that's a science fiction movie. The whole whole premise of them doing that shit is like
a lot of things in that movie. But back to the main topic. I get what he's saying, and I agree with what he's saying. But Halloween ends people knew that movie was going to suck on Washed Toes.
Right.
So I don't think the studio really gave a fuck because they filmed everything back to back to back. They was scared on Homegirl looking different. Jamie Lee Curtis, she might pass away. She might age more. You never know. So let's just get all these knocked out all at once. So they filmed the last 2 back to back.
Yeah.
You already made it. Fuck it. Throw it somewhere. Throw it in theaters. Throw it on there. Let it make some money.
Right, but that's my point. It went to streaming and to theaters the same day,
But
and it
I don't think
still
they gave
made $41 million in theaters.
Yeah, but I don't think I really gave
Because
a fuck, though.
people actually give a shit.
But, like, how many other movies are going to, like, same day? Like, I know Peacock got a handful of them, but they were out of theater. The Black Phone, The Bad Guys, Beast. Like, they went in theaters, came out, and boom. I feel like there's not a lot of same-day releases, though.
Right. My point isn't the same day release. My point is that horror is the most consistently relevant genre, which is proven by the fact that when other movies go to streaming and to theaters the same day, they don't make money at the theater. But one of the most iconic Halloween, or one of the most iconic horror franchises ever, releases a movie that everyone knows is gonna be bad, puts it on streaming the same day it goes to the box office, and it still makes $41 million.
Because you gotta see how it ends.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not part of it, but you could have watched it at home.
Yeah. But some of that's just like, date night type thing, you know? Like,
I mean, a little bit of it, but like there are other movies you could have gone and seen Smile. Like you could have gone to see Top Gun Maverick, which is still in theaters for the 5th time.
But because like it made money though, like horror movies are notorious for being cheaply made.
Yeah, I mean they don't cost that much money, but $41 million is a lot of money. Period. Right now, no matter how much money your movie costs.
It costs almost $1 million to go to the goddamn movie theater. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I get what you're saying. They are incredibly like $8 for a medium soda is insane. So, but
what's the like? You take like 2000's money. Like it would overshadow the 44 today, right?
What are you talking about?
Like with interest and whatnot, inflation. Like that's no money.
$41 million is not a lot of money for a movie to make. Sure. Well, I mean it's mid. Like
looking through the years of cinema, like that's not something to like tip your hat off to. I'm sure there was worse horror movies in that franchise that made more money than that.
I don't know.
I'm just tired of seeing the cocksucker.
Well, hopefully you never have to see that cocksucker ever again.
Hopefully they're doing an anthology series like John Carpenter wanted to, because I think that'd be really cool and curious. But I don't know who would make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I did read another article about so the Weinstein Company had the rights to Halloween when like they did the Rob Zombie shit and all this stuff, and they had all these plans for a Halloween franchise because the rule was you have to make Halloween movies or you lose the rights to the film.
Yeah.
So I did read an article about the stuff that they had planned to do with it before they ended up losing the rights. And like the article was basically just an opinion on whether it would have been good or not, because they were kicking Rob Zombie off of it. And so the next one was supposed to like put it back to its roots. So if that had happened, you could still be seeing even like it might have never ended. Like there might not have been a break.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that guy's gotta die though. Like they did a bad movie, but like the ending, they did the ending right. But what was I gonna say? Miramax still owns the rights.
Right. Yes, but They weren't the studio that had it. It was
they're like distributing it now, but I don't know. I think one part of it is horror movies are just cool because it's cheap with like the emotions, the pop, the adrenaline rush. Like you go to that horror movie, even when you watch the trailer and the fucking nematode walks up to the car window and the head comes down like that, like something goes off in your brain to like get you like excited or to scare you a little bit. So I think like it's a cheap thrill ride. Like this is probably like a ride at the fair. When you go watch The Shining, where that's like a ride at like Carowinds or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like you go into it, you're getting something. It might be the teacups. Or it might be the fucking Intimidator. You don't know what the fuck you're getting on, but you know you're getting on a ride. And I think that does help. And I think with Top Gun, putting you in the driver's seat, I think that was also something that really helped you. Because it like added that bit of like VR almost.
Yeah. Sure.
If they just made movies with good emotions that made you feel shit, instead of making 2,000 movies in a year, we wouldn't have this problem with the goddamn theater. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. If they made good movies and quit putting them all on streaming immediately, then yeah, I would probably say the theater. But
fuck the theater.
But right now, Top Gun
Save
Maverick.
my Blu-rays.
Right now, Top Gun and horror movies are single-handedly, well, double-handedly saving movie theaters.
I also think coming off the pandemic is like their rise, their time to shine too, because Halloween, you had all the extras when you filmed that. So like that didn't really get hurt by it. Men, 7 actors tops.
Yeah.
Barbarian.
Nobody went to see Men though.
It probably made a profit.
I mean, it probably did, but only because it probably did not cost much money to make at all.
Barbarian.
But that's A24's like shtick, right?
Bro, A24, they had a cold audience, so like
we'll make yeah. I mean, they have bigger budget movies, but most of their stuff is like we can make this for like $10 million tops. And like, yeah.
Barbarian, 8 actors tops. Shit, that one probably has some actors in it, like a lot of actors. But what I'm saying is, you can also get away with having no people in horror movies and making it really good. So when the pandemic and everything was happening, you could still film horror movies, and they could be pretty damn good.
Sure.
Like Bodies.
Yeah.
That's 7 motherfuckers in that movie. And it was probably filmed during the pandemic. Pete Davidson, get off Kim Kardashian's ass, come film this movie, and boom, there you go. Another A24 banger that you could do, and just, there you go. I don't know. I just really don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
And everything's a goddamn not action movie, a goddamn superhero movie nowadays. There's no variety in film. And honestly, I feel like the art of it, of filmmaking, is dying. And we're just going to get a bunch of subpar shit. And like once, twice a year, there's going to be a movie like a fucking Everywhere, Everything, All at Once.
Yeah. Sometimes it does feel like 2017, 2018, 2019 were just like the last years of just good, like, good film. Like, just consistent good. Like, we had superhero shit, but there was also, like, so much other good stuff that was coming out in theaters and was still doing really good at making money. Like, The Shape of Water, that's a weird movie. Like, that's an odd movie.
Yeah.
It won Best Picture, and it made a ton of money at the box office. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I would put in that same, like, vein, because it is also just really trippy and odd. And I would be really upset if it doesn't at least get nominated for Best Picture. But, yeah, I don't like horror movies either. But also, they are, like, my distaste for the superhero bias in film right now outweighs my dislike for horror movies. So I'm glad that there is at least some other genre of film that is like propping up the movie industry besides, whatever new set of Avengers are going to be cooked up at some point.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. It's like, as much as I love film, I'm almost starting to hate it. Because, like, there could be some really good fucking movies out there. But when you make 2,000 of them, they get fucking buried. Yeah. Like, if you look how many movies came out this year or last year compared to 2004, it probably triumphs over it. Like, I mean, obviously they had their, like, straight-to-video stuff here and there, too. But they didn't have a fucking company that just did straight-to-video. And if they did, it was like a cult thing. Like some Toxic Avenger type shit. Where they would do that shit on purpose. Where this shit now is just like, alright, let's just throw it out there. Just throw it out there. And Netflix, I don't know where the fuck Netflix gets their goddamn movies. It's like, ugh, who the fuck makes this shit? But it's a sad day. Sad week. Because there's no really good cinema out there. And Cartoon Network studios shut their doors.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I guess like the Discovery Warner combined thing. They was like, oh, shut it. So the people that made Scooby-Doo, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Teen Titans, rip. Very, very, very sad.
That is really sad.
Go to Cartoon Network show.
Oh, huh.
Let's not do a superhero thing. Because that's cheating, I feel like. Right? That's cheating?
Well, I mean, like, if I can only... Man, woof. That's tough.
Easy for me.
I'm taking Courage.
Conan, Kids Next Door.
That was like, my number 2.
Like...
Yeah. That show just, like, sparked so much freaking imagination for me when I was a kid. Like,
Conan, Kids Next Door.
Yeah, that is the, like, perfect show for, like, 8, 9, 10-year-olds.
Yeah, it's fucking
like,
great.
It is phenomenal.
I actually wasn't a big Cartoon Network person.
Oh, I was.
Like, you had Scooby-Doo and the superhero shit. But, like, Nickelodeon and Disney, that was more of my cup of tea.
I was Cartoon Network all the way. I hate it. All right, so on Disney, I watched Kim Possible.
Fire.
And I watched the DComs. But like that's what the Disney Channel was for me, was the
Buzz Lightyear show DComs. Fire.
Nickelodeon.
What are you saying? DComs? What was that? Disney Channel original movies?
Mm-hmm.
Bro. Was it Ang Lee? No, that's the actor. Director or something like that.
He's a director, yes.
The American Dragon show. The kid turns into a dragon.
Okay.
That shit's fire.
So
Buzz
that
Lightyear show's fire.
There's an age gap in us. So like that was kind of
there is
at the like tail end of when I was super interested in that stuff.
Drake and Josh. Sweet Life Jack. Well, Sweet Life Jack was a Disney.
Wait, Drake and Josh was Nickelodeon,
yeah.
Right?
I was switching over. But
okay.
Like then I thought Sweet Life Fire. Did you catch any of that?
Okay. Like tail end. So I guess let me put it this way: live action stuff, Nickelodeon was the go-to.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was completely disinterested in any of their like.
Fuck SpongeBob. I hate SpongeBob. The most overrated cartoon of all time.
First 2 seasons of SpongeBob, incredible.
That's
Love
MTV SpongeBob. That's not Nickelodeon SpongeBob.
Cracked me up. Love it.
I know where that was supposed to go.
But after that, yes, seriously declined. But if we're animation, Disney and Nickelodeon could not hold a candle to Cartoon Network.
I don't know. See, Courage, it kind of scared me, so I didn't fuck with that.
Well, it's not my fault you're pussy.
Ed and Ed. I just felt like that show was like white trash.
Fucking loved Ed and Eddie.
I felt like that show was like beneath me. Like, I don't know. It came off as gross almost.
Well, parts of it were, yeah.
Like,
I loved that show. It was so stupid. You got Johnny Bravo.
What Johnny Bravo's fire? What am I going to watch?
Dexter's Lab.
That's fire. Ed and Eddie or the Very Odd Parents. Let me get the Very Odd Parents.
Very Odd Parents.
Let me get the Rugrats. Let me get those angry beavers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean those were good.
Let me get some. Those were good. Wiggy 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 wiggy. Some rocket power, dude.
Yeah, those are all good.
Give me all that.
Yeah, but you also had Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which I loved.
On that.
Oh, I love that shit.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. That shit was fire.
That was really good. Yeah. Fucking Cow and Chicken. Give me some Cow and Chicken.
Also gross.
Big fan. Yeah.
As soon as I saw that devil's big red ass, I was like, I'm out.
I think I liked it so much because like my mom hated it. So it was like,
makes sense.
I'm not supposed to be watching this, so I love it. Yeah, I'll take Cartoon Network any day.
But you know what else they had?
Mike, Lou, and Og.
That's way before my time.
What?
Mike, Lou, and Og. I don't know who the fuck they are.
What else do they have?
The GOAT of cartoons, Scooby-Doo, Hanna-Barbera, which leads us into Scooby-Doo movie bracket. Nate and myself, Strange Wayne, we're gonna take the best of the Scooby-Doo movies for the spooky season and see who wins. Round 1, we got Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. Scooby-Doo meets Batman. I'm kind of with Batman, dog.
Yeah, same. I don't like Alien Invaders is fine. I'm just not a big Alien like in this specific like genre of movie kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's cheesy to me.
To me, like the ending where you realize, oh, they're not really aliens, but Shaggy's girlfriend is an alien.
Yeah,
it was just kind of like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, that's whack.
Like, aliens are real. I get that.
Yeah,
you could have done that shit a different way.
And the other one has Batman in it.
Yeah, so. For real. And it's like that classic Scooby-Doo that like everyone knows and loves as well. Ooh, it's gonna be a hard one. Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, or Ghoul School. I absolutely love both of these movies.
Yeah, me too.
Like
I know exactly which one I want.
Me too.
Yeah,
but you gotta make the video 8 minutes for when we cut it out. You know, you gotta get that YouTube money. Witch's Ghost, to me, that was the first time Scooby-Doo was actually scary.
Yeah,
like that shit was like a big deal to me when I was watching it. Like, I didn't want to watch it but Scooby-Doo, so I'm still watching it. But you got everything you love in there. You got the Hetz girls, you know.
Do you love the Hetz
I've been loving emo girls since I was a young Wang, you know what I'm saying? Because them Hetz girls, you know what I'm saying? So, that shit was cool. Again, one of the few times it's a real fucking monster.
Right.
And then you ended off on a joke with a big turkey, like the big turkey I got sitting next to me. But Ghoul School.
Gobble, gobble.
Classic. You don't need the rest of those fucking Mama Lukes. You need Shaggy and Scooby. Well, and Scrappy, too. But Ghoul School. The fucking back and forth. I've done all the talking. How do you feel like Ghoul School, dog?
Oh, I mean, I like Ghoul School. Like, Ghoul School's good. Like...
Oh, shit.
But, wait, are you picking Ghoul School over Witch's Ghost? You're crazy.
Bro, Ghoul School is so much fun. It's that classic Scooby-Doo you love. You got the fucking preppy boys, and then the ghouls, the outcasts, the underdogs. They're going, having competitions with one another.
It's a little too gimmicky.
But then they come together to fight the evil witch. I'm going Ghoul School.
Yeah,
you got a coin. How we do this? Rock, paper, scissors. That's what we did last time.
Is it 2 out of 3 or just straight up?
Straight up. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Damn, Witch's Ghost.
That's
really
stupid. You're stupid.
So what do you like so much about Witch's Ghost?
It's like actually scary. The Hex girls. Like, also, I completely disagree about you only needing Shaggy and Scooby. That's wild to me. Like, Scooby-Doo, like, listen, I've seen every episode of the OG Scooby-Doo. And then like the second series that came after that, I've seen
meet everybody.
Almost all of those.
Scooby-Doo meets.
Like, and like that is like, yeah, Scooby and Shaggy, easily the best 2 characters. Yeah. That's not an argument. But like the whole gang rounds it out.
The supporting cast in the Ghoul School is so strong.
Yeah.
And there's another movie with just them 2 that we'll talk about then, but I feel the same way. Change is needed. This is easy. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed.
Scooby-Doo 2.
You actually got him.
Yeah, I'm obviously kidding. Zombie Island, it's incredible. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island is a perfect film.
Yeah, it's like head and shoulders. Like, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island is the Christopher Nolan of Batman movies. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I really, really like the Batman.
well,
but
2 years ago,
yeah.
it was just heads and shoulders above all the other ones.
Yeah.
All right, we got Scooby-Doo meets Batman and Ghoul School.
Batman.
Fucking get that ad the fuck out of here. Fucking hell. I hate everything.
You blew it!
Matchup. Matchup mode, sucker. Cocksucker. Alright, let me move this. Mama Luke. Perfect. You going Batman?
Yeah.
I'm going Ghoul School.
I'm just salty now. So
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Ha! Get that bitch ass school out of here.
Damn it, Bats. That was a good run though. Like, we fucking went at it. Zombie Island.
Yeah.
Sorry, Batman.
Right. Yeah.
On the other side of the bracket, we got Scoob and the Boo Brothers. This is the weakest of the Shaggy and Scooby with other people.
Yeah.
But again, the supporting cast is so strong that I'm picking Boo Brothers over that. Because, like, them some fucking Goonies. And then you're in the swamp. I love Southern type shit. Which is just like, because I know these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And there's people in this Boo Brothers movie that I'm like, I know that motherfucker. Scoob, it does too much. There's parts of it I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But overall, the story lacks for me, and I hate it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm also kind of tired of the, like, everything needs an origin story bit that we're doing with film and TV right now. So, yeah, and Boo Brothers is like, dude, Cartoon Network, Saturday night cartoons, they like, I don't know if that was still a thing when you were coming around, but every Saturday night, Cartoon Network had Cartoon Network Saturday night movie is what they called it. And literally it opened up and it literally like walked you, like it was like almost VR. They walked you into a theater and like
With all the cartoon
went
characters
through the whole
down.
thing and then sat down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like
yeah.
opened up the curtains and played the movie. And this was one that was on their rotation along with other classics like An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, and other things. Boo Brothers it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing about Scoob. We just go forget about a pup named Scoob. Be-Doo.
Yeah.
That shit fire.
Yeah,
Another one.
That's true.
Even better.
Red
Cartoon Network
herring.
class. Exactly. Bro, I was in college when I figured out what a red herring was for real.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was that dude's name.
Which makes total sense.
Yeah.
We got Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Vampire. This was easy for me. The vampire one, you bring back the Hex Girls. Vampire, that's kind of a uninteresting villain for the gang.
Yeah.
Cyber Chase, you have the perfect amount of nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in a fucking video game.
Yeah, I think Cyber Chase was like a really good way to bring Scooby-Doo up in a generation.
Inventive too, yeah.
And because it's like you're adding this technology element to it while also revisiting like some of the OG classic villains. And it is like a video, like it's literally like levels, you know?
Yeah.
So Cyber Chase it is for me as well.
That Johnny Blaze. Easy for me. Again, to me, this is my favorite Scooby-Doo movie of all time. Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. To me, the race, the Wacky Waste, the supporting cast in this, the two little Goonies. That motherfucker. Geek. That shit funny. Scooby-Doo, the movie. That shit sucks toes. Ugh. That movie's awful. I hate that movie. I literally hate it. We made top 5 our most hated movies of all time. That would be on there for me for sure.
Huh.
I don't have a nostalgic connection to that. I watched it a ton when I was younger, and it never got better, even though I hoped it would get better. The fucking plot twist is stupid. The CGI is fucking awful. Oh, they made a Mary Jane joke. Who the fuck cares? Fuck your Mary Jane joke, ball sniffers. The movie's garbage.
So Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf is like C tier animated Scooby-Doo movies to me. I think the race thing is cheesy and I don't need that in a Scooby-Doo movie. And it's just like, it just reminds me of like, there's another like Hanna-Barbera movie that had like all of the Hanna-Barbera characters like in some big race together, and I didn't like that either.
Well, there's a TV show, Wacky Wasters.
I know, but anyways, Scooby-Doo the movie, I love that movie. It's incredible. It is so bad that it is like, it's Batman and Robin level for me. It's so bad that I love it. That being said, Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf is definitely a better movie, and I don't care about either of them enough to argue about it. So sure, Reluctant Werewolf.
Okay. Do you remember when all the B-list Hanna-Barbera characters, they like got together and there was like going and like it snowed and their car broke down, so they got in this like haunted cabin and they had Christmas there?
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
I wish I could find that. I don't celebrate Christmas, but just from the nostalgia.
Dude, those random little like things they put together were so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the Boo Brothers and Cyber Chase. Damn. You go first.
Oh, well, I was going to wait to see what you picked because I don't care about enough of either of these.
I feel like Cyber Chase is the better one.
Yeah, I was going to say Cyber Chase just because I do think objectively it's better
like movie. The more impactful. I'll probably watch the Boo Brothers more just because that's easier to throw in the background for me.
Sure.
Personally.
Yeah.
Rock. So what we have here, Cyber Chase.
I was about to say, we should at least explain it. But...
I'm picking Werewolf. Favorite Scooby-Doo movie. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Doesn't matter. It's not going to be.
I know
what the true number was.
But it went to the finals.
Oh, speaking of.
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. Zombie Island, like we said, it's like head and shoulders above everything else Scooby-Doo's ever done.
Yeah, it is. Listen, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, A.
Yes, I would give it an A.
I still remember the trailer for the. But this time, the monsters are real. And it's like, I freaking love the Bayou setting.
Me too.
I love the, like, how they flip the script that, like, the zombies are just trying to, like, warn them and save them. And now, like, I don't know if Zombie Island was the first thing to ever do that, but that's like a common thing in horror movies now, right? It's like, oh, the ghosts were just trying to have your back and warn you about this other thing. Like, it is perfectly paced. It is the perfect amount of scary. It is 70 minutes long, which is perfect. Like, Scooby, like, I understand that it's not like everyone's thing. So, like, I'm not necessarily suggesting that Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island be put in, like, the best films of all time. But, like, from a technical, objective standpoint, it is a perfect movie.
Like, I remember we did our top 5 zombie movies. And, like, Shaun of the Dead, those, like, those are on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you pull out, like, 2 or 1. I can't remember. It was 1 or 2, I believe. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, and I looked at you, and I was like, he's joking. And he went on this passionate 4 or 5 minute speech about how good Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island was. So, like, I wasn't, like, I love Scooby-Doo, I ain't gonna disrespect the man, I mean, the pup at all, but, like, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna wait to see when I know what the fuck I'm talking about before I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I get me a little copy of that joint and I watch it and I'm like, goddamn, I'm blown away by this fucking movie. And I'm just like, I went back to him, rewatch Scooby-Doo Zombie Island after you talked about it. Say everything you said it was. It's like Han Solo, everything you heard is true.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, holy crap, like, why can't they do that again? Like, that is like Batman, the animated series levels of good.
Yeah, it is. It's like, so good.
Jesus, like, the animation at that time was incredible. Like, you even got fucking, what's that guy's name? Masculine Phantasm, which is similar.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just like, it takes it to another level, and it's just like mind-blowingly crazy. But Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island 1, fun bracket. I enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. He likes arguing. We had one really good rock, paper, scissors game going on.
That's true.
So, everything you could ask for and more. But, Ticket to Paradise coming out. It's got Julia Roberts in it. It's got George Clooney. Top 5 Julia Roberts movies. Tell them how we do our top 5s.
So he's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. Then we trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means if we both have the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, we just talk about it once.
Number 5 for me. I felt like it was only fair to put them all together. Oceans.
Well, I put Ocean's 12 as my number 5. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
She's not even in 13. So
or 8.
Or 8.
The movie she's in. She plays really well off George Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
And if a link in that chain is weak, it's going to show.
Yeah.
And every relationship in that movie, every link in the chain just works so well. Even though, like, you got all these different leaks from different chains. Like a Bernie Mac and a Matt Damon chain. I wouldn't think that would go together, but that motherfucker's tight, dog. That's strong.
Right.
So, everything in this movie works. A good... You can see them dating in the Oceans 11 and 12, and it's like, that makes sense as a couple.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you talking about Clooney and Julia Roberts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because they get married and the guy comes back and he has the flowers and runs out the... Yeah.
Well, I mean, they were married and she divorced him.
Well, they got married again.
And then they ended up getting back together again. Yeah. Yeah. She's really good in that. I specifically picked Ocean's 12 just because, like...
You get more.
You get more of her. I mean, she's really kind of the point of Ocean's 11 because, yeah, like, Clooney's a heist man. He has to do it. They talk about it in 12 before they have to get back into it about how he can't go somewhere without, like, casing it and looking at the cameras. Like, it's who he is. But he does what he does in Ocean's 11 to get Julia, like, not even necessarily to get her back, but at least to get her away from this guy that doesn't really give a shit about
attention,
her. But in Ocean's 12, she's actually kind of a part of it. They have the whole, like, oh, we're gonna have you pretend to be Julia Roberts bit, and like, all that. And that's really funny because, like, they sell her as an unbelievable Julia Roberts, and she is Julia Roberts, and yeah, blah blah blah. You get it. It's funny. Also, when we were making this list, just to go ahead and throw this preface out there, I've only seen 5 Julia Roberts movies. So, those are the 5 that are on my list.
That's America's Sweetheart. You gotta bump your...
No, I really do. Oh, when I told...
Your wife?
Man, when I told... What movie was it she said was her favorite? It's probably on your list. Oh, if I hear it, then I'll get to it.
Okay.
But she was very upset when she heard that I had not seen a specific Julia Roberts movie.
There's a little spoiler. There's a classic Roberts movie that's not on my list.
Huh.
Mystic Pizza.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it. It's not on my... No,
Okay.
That's not it. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is My Best Friend's Wedding.
That's it. That's the one that she was upset that I haven't seen.
Which, I was a part of my best friend's wedding.
You were, yeah.
So, I like this movie a lot because it's kind of like... She's kind of like a shyster. She's doing some dog shit. She's trying to break up her best friend from getting married to the love of his life so she could be with him. And the more she does it, the more... Oh my God, like, we would be so good together. I really do love them. The feelings get deeper. You understand it. You see it. Julia Roberts, America's Sweetheart, you got the nickname for a fucking reason. Like, holy same haircut. I don't even like white girls. But, fucking talented, beautiful. That smile.
Yeah, she's just a sweet person.
Just a big smile, and it's so, oomfa.
Very endearing, yeah.
So, you have Cameron Diaz and Julia Roberts competing for this man's love, basically, without Cameron Diaz really knowing she's doing it. Mm-hmm. But because women are insecure, people are insecure.
I appreciate that you changed it to people are insecure.
Well, in this movie, Cameron Diaz is the insecure one. So that's why I said woman. Anyways, I knew he was going to say something. So, there we go. People are insecure. So Cameron Diaz is like, oh my goodness, your guys' chemistry is so good together that I'm nervous, like, that I can't add up to you. And as much as he told me about you, I could never fill your shoes. And, like, the ending doesn't go the way, like, it's a realistic movie with, like, a lot of unrealistic hijinks in it, which makes it fun because it's a 90s rom-com. Mm-hmm. Of course there's a gay best friend, and he's very flamboyant. But the reason why it's my number 4, and sorry, Anna, is because the lead and Julia Roberts, I don't feel their chemistry.
Who's the lead in it?
Don't know.
Oh.
He was in a few things. Handsome white guy, number 12.
I've never seen A Few Things. Is that movie good?
Have you seen A Few Little Things? He's not in that movie.
It's The Little Things.
Well, that's the sequel, A Few Little Things. Ray Mount's like, what in these ashes? I don't know what's in them ashes. I should not do impressions.
No, you shouldn't.
What's your number 4?
So my number 4, the best, in my opinion, the best adaptation of a classic children's literature ever. It's Hook. This movie, for some reason, consistently gets put on like the back half of list when people start ranking Spielberg's films. I don't get that. I think Hook is incredible. I love it a lot. You get peak Robin Williams, but he is supported by Tinkerbell Julia Roberts, which she nails it. Like, this is such a, I don't want to say once in a lifetime role because that makes it sound like this is like an Oscar worthy performance or something like that. But like, it's like a fantasy type role, and she is obviously very well known for like rom-coms and like some dramas and things. Like, that's her bread and butter. That's her sweet spot, right? So seeing her in something like this, who knows if it's going to work? It did work. She really pulls off the whole like Tinkerbell is in love with Peter, so she's jealous of Wendy, and that causes problems shtick. And I really love that movie, and I'm glad she's a part of it.
I really want my number 3 to be on your list because it's my favorite Julia Roberts movie.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite rom-coms of all time as well. Notting Hill.
No, I've never seen it.
It's so good. You got this famous actress falls in love with a bookstore owner, a poor little bookstore owner in England, and like.
So it's You've Got Mail, but in England.
But it's a famous actress. It's not two bookstore owners. But it's way better than You Got Mail. You got chemistry out the fucking wazoo. Like, there's just something about Julia Roberts. In this time period, she's in her fucking bag. And she could make anyone fall in love with her. And, like, you obviously got the 90s, like, his friends are a touch eccentric, like, from whatever reason, like, the England, like, area was just pumping out mad good rom-coms. Bridget Jones' Diary, Notting Hill,
Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Yeah, so, like, straight killing the rom-com game. Throwing Julia Roberts in that world adds a different layer to it. And obviously the self-doubt of, she's a famous actress, how could she ever love me? And it just makes you want that relationship to work. Because, like, you see Julia Roberts and, like, shit, I'll fall in love with her too. Like, holy, same haircut. Perfect human being in this movie. Like, can't do nothing wrong. Classy as ever. And it's like, it's one of those rom-coms where you get so motivated to the point it's like you're watching, like, a football game. Like, I was watching this movie for the first time, like a Tennessee fan was watching that Alabama game Saturday, where they were like, we ain't beat him in 15 years, it's gotta happen. And I'm like, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, it's like, this love has to happen. Fall in love, damn it. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat. I love it so much. But a part of that is the chemistry. So, I can't give it all to Julia Roberts, which is why it's my number 3. Number 2, Erin Brockovich.
Never seen it.
Really good movie. She plays really well with every lead she's with. You got Aaron Eckhart in this movie. Plays very well with him. Albert Finney. They have this fun, quirky little relationship because he's a lawyer and he's old, and she's a trashy, confident woman. Like, she dresses like a stripper, and she curses a lot. And if I didn't watch Mystic Pizza, I would be like, holy shit, how could Julia... I didn't think Julia Roberts could do this. But similar characters. But Erin Brockovich, she gets a job, got 3 kids, trying to put food on the table, ends up finding some bullshit that a big company's doing. She works for a law firm, and she's like, yo, Albert Finney, this shit is not right. We need to do something. We need to stand for the people. We need to, like... And she takes this case on. She doesn't really know what she's doing. So you have that, like, dynamic between her and Albert Finney. And, like, she ain't taking no shit. And Albert Finney, like, if you ever seen Big Fish, this guy's a fucking gem. Like, what a great fucking... Like, he probably didn't make good movies until he was an old person. Because, like, he's just the sweetest old man ever, you know? So, like, they just have such great chemistry with one another. And her drive and passion in this movie, mixed with her confidence and, like, brash sense of personality, where she's fucked this, like, every 3 sentences has fuck in it or something. Like, not what you think of when you think of Julia Roberts. And she just makes it work and makes it believable. And you don't really know these people who got this bad water that caused their cancer or tumors or whatever the fuck. But you're like, bro, fuck the big company. Very easy to invest in. And her charm just fucking takes it to the next level. So Erin Brockovich, my number 2.
Nice. My number 3, again, the 5 movies on my list are the only 5 Julia Roberts movies I've seen. Not that I think these movies are bad. I think they're actually pretty good movies. They're just not, like, probably what you would expect from a Julia Roberts list, which maybe that's a good thing. So my number 3, Mona Lisa's Smile. You seen that movie?
It's got Kristen Dunst in it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so think Dead Poets Society, except instead of trying to get a bunch of stuffy boarding school kids to like poetry and get in touch with their feelings, it's
a bunch of white women and paintings.
Well, it's more so about, like, a teacher, Julia Roberts, in the 1950s getting young women to, like, think outside the gender norms of the time. Because 1950s, not a great time to be a woman.
Does Red Foreman make Kristen Dunst kill herself? Dead Poet Society.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I don't think so. It's a little more... honestly, I don't like Dead Poet Society. I think the movie's a little overrated. I like Mona Lisa's Smile more than I like Dead Poet Society, and I guess they're only really comparable because you just have that, like, here's a wizened teacher who understands how to get in touch with these students who are kind of stuck in their own specific ways.
What word did you use?
What?
Wizened?
Wizened, as in
What's
someone
that?
who is wise.
Never heard of that word.
There's your SAT word of the day. My number 2 is going to be Wonder. It's a really sweet movie. To me, it's a little, like, overly saccharine, but it's still really nice. And Julia Roberts does Julia Roberts things where she is like, hey, you're going to love me. I'm probably am I the best mom in the world? Probably, because I'm Julia freaking Roberts. And, you know, it's very sad, but it's also very good. And Julia Roberts is in it. And it's a movie that I have seen with Julia Roberts in it.
I had a huge problem with that movie.
What is it?
Owen Wilson would never be able to pull Julia Roberts. That nematode.
Wow.
Oh boy, he probably counts on his fingers still.
Wow.
Owen Wilson's the type of guy that still has the themed birthday parties.
Wow.
Like, that guy's a loser.
Wow.
Fucking Owen Wilson. Anyways, number 1,
Wow.
Pretty Woman.
Yeah, mine too.
That's the movie that, like, I watched it and I understood why everyone loved Julia Roberts so much in the 90s and 2000s. It's like, holy shit. She really is that good. Like, she's, for the females, she's Tom Hanks' equal. Just like, boom. Wholehearted American actor. Always going to have a good performance in everything they're in. They have their style, but the style is so normal, unrecognizable, that it's not like a Owen Wilson where you gotta throw wow in there, or like a De Niro where you gotta do this. it flies under the radar so much that it's like, holy shit, like Shawty can do anything.
Yeah.
Just like Tom Hanks can. But in this movie, you got a prostitute becoming a classy lady to George Costanza's delightment, if you will. But Richard Gere, you know, they play very well off each other. And the transition seems so natural and like easy almost from a prostitute to that. My favorite scene in the movie is where like she's trying to buy clothes at that one store.
Oh.
And like they won't let her, so the next day she comes in with some Gucci bags and whatnot. She's like, "You remember I came in yesterday?" No. Big mistake. She got all the bags in her hand. Big mistake.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like, throw it in her face, you know, be confident. Obviously, there's a lot of different things in this movie, self-doubt, a lot of relatability things that she just knocks out the park. And the smile.
Yeah.
That fucking smile. Greatest smile in the history of mankind, I would say.
Wow. Yeah.
Stop saying wow. God damn it. It's going to haunt me in my nightmares.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. It's just a really endearing movie. And like a premise that is like lots of rom-coms try to have sort of like a off the beaten path premise to them. But I mean, I feel like the further we get along in time, we are at least like moving towards people having a generally better view of like sex workers. But back then, it's like people talked about prostitutes like they were just filthy street rats, basically, right? Yeah. So to make a movie about a prostitute, like, you know,
do we?
Huh?
Like, I guess, like, there's different levels of sex workers.
Well, that's true.
I also think prostitutes are pretty gross.
Well, it depends on the what kind they are.
And then strippers, escorts, escorts and strippers and OnlyFans.
Anyways.
Because there's no, like, touching on OnlyFans. It's all virtual.
Anyways. I appreciate the fact that there are probably a lot of people who would talk mad shit about prostitutes in general and like devalue them as humans because of, you know, what they do, whether it is like because they chose to or they were in a bad spot or whatever, who watched this movie and loved it. And that's the power that film has, I think. And like I'm sure that you probably have also seen this 1,000 times on either Watch Mojo lists or other things where they talk about improvised scenes. But, like, even just the fact that when he clamps the thing down on her, and her laugh is incredibly genuine, and it is absolutely infectious. Yeah. Like, it is just, like, there's something about Julia Roberts laughing that is, like,
America's sweetheart.
It just makes you feel good. Yeah. Like, yeah.
So, to go back to the prostitute things, because once you mentioned sex, you got my like curiosity.
Oh boy!
So that's one thing that like I didn't really understand until recently, because there's a guy from high school. I ain't gonna say no names. He's married, and was like, "Hey, I found out so and so in high school with has a private Snapchat. I'll give you the money if you buy it for me." And of course, I was like, "Oh, well, it's actually $35. I thought it was $20. Oh, no, she raised the price. It's $35. I gotta get mines. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I'll take the nudes. I'll screenshot them. I'll send them to him. And I get paid. So it's a win-win situation, right? But they usually don't do it that long. Because I think, like, they don't want to do it. It's just an easy income. Same thing with prostitutes. I think they just do it for the in and out. Like, I mean, some of them, depending on the pimp, you know, like, prostitutes for life. But, like, I don't think prostitutes want to be prostitutes.
I've watched a lot of documentaries about this. Most of like, okay, well, so you have like, you have the tier down here who are like your drug addicts and things like that, and they are prostituting to support their habit. And then like your mid and high tier, generally based on the documentaries that I've watched and listening to the people that are doing it and talking about it, most of them, and again, I'm talking about like actual like pay for sex, not like OnlyFans stuff. Most of them are like their goal is to get in like a sugar daddy situation to find that Richard Gere who wants to take them away from this life and just financially support them forever. That's what a lot of them are looking for, and they're just making money in the process. I'm sure there are a handful of women out there who just enjoy that type of work.
Yeah, love sex. Might as well get paid for it. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a really, really high level one, you're probably making a ton of money doing it.
And you probably have sex people you would have sex with in real life too.
Sure, yeah. I'm sure they get to be very selective about their clientele.
Yeah.
OnlyFans stuff, I feel like that's like...
I feel like
I feel like
almost goes hand in hand though.
I feel like that's the same thing as like people starting a YouTube or a Twitch or a TikTok. They start it hoping that it's just going to be really easy to take off and they're going to be making all this money off of it. And then they realize how often you have to do this stuff and you have to put content out almost every day and like all this stuff, and then it just phases out on them.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I always thought it was the latter. It was like, because like for whatever reason this dude just kept finding them. Like there was one I sent to him because I saw it on Tinder and I was like, oh shit, I can't ask for it because we matched, you know. That'd be weird. So I'll just make him pay for it, and he did. But it's like been 4 or 5 times, and it's like they go like 2 or 3 months, and I just assume they like people like I know are doing like know I'm doing this, and it was like a guilt thing. But or they just got paid out and they're like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. One or the other. I didn't think about it like that. Like I guess it is a lot to like keep up with.
Yeah, well, I mean, you edit all of our videos.
Yeah, but taking pictures and editing a video is 2 different things.
I know, but like, well, I don't know. I guess I just assume that everyone on OnlyFans is doing videos. I have zero. I don't know what.
We spent 2.5 hours filming, right?
I understand the concept of OnlyFans, but I don't.
It's gonna take me 4 hours to edit.
Mm-hmm.
Because like rendering and YouTube takes forever, whatnot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Taking 10 pictures, 2 videos. That probably ain't gonna take that long.
Yeah, but like,
they don't edit either.
I mean, yeah, right. But like, what if something isn't like? How many pictures do you think they took before they picked the 10 that they posted? You know, what if something didn't look right in this one? What if you're filming a video and like, you know, your foot slips or like something just doesn't like there's something happens in the video to where it is not like it isn't going to be like as visually appealing as it could if you did another take. Like,
well, what else with the OnlyFans girl? She said it didn't take that long. She would pick out 30 minutes out of her day, and just because like you're a woman, you know your body.
Sure.
So like, she knew how to make herself come fast for the videos. She knew what angles worked best for her.
Listen, I'm not saying...
And I feel like most women know that.
I'm not saying it's super difficult. I'm just saying it is probably a lot more time consuming than a lot of people who go into it initially expect it to be.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they probably aren't like just instantly making the money that they thought they were going to make.
That's probably the biggest...
Because that's the other thing is like, if you're trying to be discreet about it, it's kind of hard to really like publicly promote it.
Yeah. That's why Tori, she used Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Just go on different sites and keep posting the same picture. But anyways, Julia Roberts make really good movies, and we know very little about prostitutes, clearly. Which is a good thing, I guess, you know?
Yes.
But tell us down below in the comment section. We did that in another video. Put that in the comment section. Your top 5 Julia Roberts movies. What do you think about the podcast, Not Topical? Episode 4 coming out next week. If you got any topics you want us to talk about, you get kind of how the show works now, put them in the comment section. If you want to talk about fucking Fruity Pebbles versus Frosted Flakes, we can talk about that. Make a bracket or something.
Not even a competition, but okay.
Anybody trying to eat a goddamn Fruity Pebbles? Fuck Fred Flintstone.
Fuck Frosted Flakes. Frosted Flakes are trash. No. Okay, well now we have something to talk about. Great. Yeah, their mascot's trash too.
But, bro, they got Chanillo.
Save it for next week.
Alright, whatever. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich